So, how do you destroy a Dalek now? Now, originally destroying a Dalek used to be fairly easy. You could push them off a building or down a lift shaft or even a mine. Plastic explosives or nitrogen iron were powerful enough to destroy them if used in sufficient quantity and at close enough range. These methods are now virtually useless since later Daleks can now hover and also have a protective energy shield to block most physical damage. So unless the shield is totally overwhelmed with a really powerful weapon or explosives, like for instance the Dalek's own weaponry, any kind of attack may still require multiple weapons to be used at the same time to destroy a Dalek, but even cyber weaponry seems to be ineffective against Daleks. Biological weapons have been in the past used against Daleks, but shields and Dalek adaptation may now have made this no longer a viable option. Now, Daleks were first created in a war-torn, radiated world as a way of surviving the battlefield and actually destroying the enemy. So many other methods, including like high levels of radiation, Daleks are adapted to survive from. There's black holes and other massive events which are lethal to Daleks, but they don't represent a practical way to actually destroy a Dalek. So in order to destroy a Dalek, you ideally need to trick or bypass the shielding and armor on the Dalek rather than try to overwhelm it. One key vulnerability that Daleks have is that they were originally a humanoid form of life called a Khaled, which along with also needing to consume food, they also need to breathe oxygen, if only in limited amounts. And Daleks are able to survive in the vacuum of space for a limited time. So along with being resistant to radiation, Daleks presumably carry a bubble of oxygen inside their shields, to be able to replenish once they're back on a spaceship or space platform, meaning that the shields very likely have a way of filtering out potential harmful bacteria or poisons carried on the air while still allowing the oxygen inside. This still represents a potential vulnerability which might be able to be exploited. Now, pure oxygen is commonly found in two forms: O2, or two oxygens or atoms of oxygen bonded together, which is fairly stable, is what humans and other living organisms normally use for respiration, producing carbon dioxide as a byproduct. But the other form of oxygen is O3, commonly known as ozone. Now, ozone is unstable, readily breaks down into O2, but it also reacts with atoms and chemicals. However, ozone also has a rather negative impact on living organisms when inhaled or otherwise entered into the body. In humans, inhaling a relatively small amount of ozone can actually be lethal. The highly reactive nature of the ozone means it destroys living tissue and presumably would have a similar impact on Dalek tissue as well. Now, since ozone is just another form of oxygen, the Dalek shields may not be set up to protect the Dalek from high levels of ozone. So potentially, if enough ozone could be produced and stored, it might be able to be used as a weapon to destroy Daleks. So anyone using it as a weapon need to be careful how it was used so as to protect any humanoid life forms from inhaling or otherwise being exposed to potentially lethal levels of ozone.